Hey peeps, today we're going to discuss how LDS singles can get ready for the new year so that the new year is better than the last year. If you're tired of going through this, endless routine of, gee, this year's going to be my year, and then it just ends up to be the same thing that you got last year, and it never seems to get better. Well, today we're going to discuss how LDS singles can get ready for the new year so that it really is better than the last year. Join the Journey Radio starts right now.
Welcome to the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Join the Journey Radio. I'm Lance, your host for Join the Journey Radio, and this is episode number 418. Ready for the new year. That's right, peeps. We're going to get all ready for the new year. So if you're watching the live program today, feel free to join the chat. Join the chat. Join the chat. Add the chat. Tell us where you're from, and that'll help us, know better about where our audience is located. And if you're watching the program after the live stream, then, down below the video, you can make a comment. Leave a comment down below. Let us know where you're watching the video from. That will help us with the algorithms to push our content out to more Latter-day Saint singles and thereby help more people. So here we are, peeps. We're at the end of another year. 2025 is almost behind us. 2026 is almost upon us. And the turning of the year is a time when most people think about the year that has passed and what they wish were different, right? Because we all remember, like, I can remember that New Year's resolution I made at the start of the year, and gosh, I don't have anything like that right now, right? And we're wishing things were different. We also think about, like, what we wished happened in our lives but didn't, right? But then, it's easy to transfer those unfulfilled desires to the coming year and say, well, I didn't get it last year, but this year is going to be different. This year will be my year. We see opportunity for change. We hope for the possibility of change. We resolve that this year will be different. LDS singles are no different. LDS singles are people too, right? They look at the year that has just passed and think about the things in their life that they hoped a year ago would change, the unfulfilled desires that they wished a year ago would find fulfillment, the missing, that's right, note my use of air quotes here, the missing pieces of their best life that they really wanted to come into their life but did not. They resolve that this coming year will be different. This year will be their year. This year will be the one when their life finally takes flight. This year will be the one when their dreams of the life they want but do not have become reality. Unless, of course, they've been disappointed from repeating this cycle so many times year after year that they have lost their hope. They see no possibility of anything in their life ever changing. They surrender to the voices of disillusionment and despair. I remember once hearing a fellow LDS single approach such a situation with humor. He said, "I'm so jaded, I'm practically diamond." That's, on your side. Like, that's a pretty good description of many LDS singles. And that's why on this final episode of Join the Journey Radio for 2025, I want to talk about the turning of the year and how LDS singles can rise above the same old song and dance that seems to play itself out every year. Every stinking year. I want to discuss how LDS singles can really fly in the new year and have more of the best life that really is theirs for the taking. I just want to fly. Sorry, I got these songs in my head. I just wish sometimes life were a musical. I mean, come on, let's just admit it. Let's just admit it. That's what we all really wish. Uh, I want to take this final episode of the program for 2025. I want to dispel the voices of disillusionment and despair that are playing in the heads of a lot of LDS singles, and I want to tune them in to the voices of confidence and hope. I want to open their eyes to possibilities. I want to help them to see past the jaded jewels into the diamonds that they really are inside. So, if you're a single Latter-day Saint, sick and tired of the same old song and dance at the turning of every year, if you want the coming year to be different than the year you just had, then don't go anywhere because this episode is for you. We'll also be talking about not only what LDS singles can do in the new year to improve their lives, but also what I, as the host of Joy in the Journey Radio, will do to improve this program as a resource for supporting LDS singles in their life change. So first, we need to talk about why each new year keeps bringing us LDS singles essentially the same life. Then we can discuss how to approach the new year so that we see real transformation in the quality of our lived experience. So you ready for this? Oh, you're ready for this? Great. Let's dig into this. Dive in. Boom. Let's begin with this question. Why for so many of us LDS singles is each year pretty much the same? We all have hopes and dreams that define our best life. Many of those desires are righteous and in complete alignment with our Heavenly Father's plan of happiness for His children. And many of us, at the start of a new year, have the most sincere of intentions to embrace all of the goodness which the fulfillment of those desires would bring into our lives. So why then, year after year, has the quality of our lived experiences essentially flatlined? I mean, some would say it's not really flat. It's actually dipping down a little bit because you're either growing or you're dying. I believe that was Tommy Boy's father I'm quoting there. You're either growing or you're dying. Why do those most sincere of intentions we have never translate into the transformations that we want into our lives? The answer is simple. In fact, it's so simple, many don't believe it when they hear it. You ready for it? Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Here it is. Last year is pretty much the same as the year before because you were pretty much the same last year as you were the year before. And next year will be pretty much like last year if you remain pretty much the same next year as you were last year. In order for your life to change, you must change. In order for your life to get better, you must get better. That is the first half of the missing pieces in your life. You have a faulty assumption that underlines your thinking. You think that your life will change while you remain essentially the same person. You think that you can have all the wonderful things you dream about having in your best life come to you simply because you are righteous, or just simply a good person, and therefore it is your due. But that is not your due. In fact, you are right now getting your due because you are getting the life that is consistent with the person that you are right now. That's the way the universe works. So if you don't like the life you have, then you need to change who you are. Despite that truth, I've seen so many LDS singles over the years deny it and try to contradict it. They try to act as though it's not real, like it's not the way the universe works. And of course, it never works out, right? And a common approach I see them taking that never works out, they try to change some part of their environment, like where they live, right? They think, oh, if I could just live somewhere else, then I could have the eternal companion that I want in my life. Or if I could just have a new address, if I'm in a different ward, or if I'm living in a different state, or whatever, right? I can have whatever it is I want in my life simply by, I've just changed my address, and then it'll just come to me. And that's the reason why I don't have what I want, because I'm living in the wrong place. So I just need to live in a different place. They think moving to a new place will bring them new opportunities and new pathways that will result in, what they want finally coming into their life. Now, I do concede that yes, sometimes that happens. But I also assert in my experience that such instances are far more the exception than the rule, because the rule I have seen play out as I have lived all over the United States as a single Latter-day Saint is this: your old life will continue to play out at your new address, because there is no new you living at your new address. Instead, it is the old you living at your new address, and the only life that the old you can bring you is the old life you keep having year after year after year that you say you're tired of living. For your life to change, you must change. For your life to get better, you must get better. Now, some of us recognize this truth, that we need to improve in order to have an improved life. I mean, at least on the subconscious level. We may not put it into words, but we kind of understand it intuitively at the subconscious level. And so, with the most sincere of intentions, we go through the all too common ritual of making New Year's resolutions. And in the end, very few of them make it to 2 weeks. Most don't even last a couple of days. We revert back to the old habits that give us the old life we've had year after year after year. Now, if old habits are driving the quality of our life to be that of the same old song and dance, it seems obvious, at least to me, that we need to adopt new habits that will bring us the new life we want. Unfortunately, most go about that ineffectively. They focus on the outward result. For example, they want to achieve a certain outcome, such as possessing a new object or a new status or some different appearance or situation. And it is the focus on the outcome that leads to failure and the return to the same old habits that deliver the same old life. Remember, in order for your life to change, you must change. And you will never change you by focusing solely on results. To change you, you must change your identity. The famous motivational speaker Zig Ziglar often said, quote, "You cannot consistently perform in a manner which is inconsistent with the way you see yourself," unquote. I'm going to say that again. Listen up, peeps. Wait for it. Wait for it. Here it is. You cannot consistently perform in a manner which is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. That's why most New Year's resolutions never last long. They focus on outside results that come from habits that are not aligned with how people see themselves inside. So if you want your New Year's resolutions to stick, you must change your identity. You must change how you see yourself so that the habits you embrace that are new will produce the new results you want to see in your life. And that's going to be consistent with how you see yourself, because you're going to see yourself in a new way. In order for your life to get better, you must get better. In order for your life to change, you must change. And that's why here on Join the Journey Radio, we're always talking about changing the way we think as the key to experiencing more joy in LDS singles life. Now, I've experienced this for myself. Once I got my thinking aligned right, half my problems went away. Boom, just like that. Gone in an instant. Now, I still have the other half to deal with. I mean, no life is completely problem-free. But what percentage of problems would you rather deal with? 100% or 50%? And changing the way you think is key, not only to experiencing more joy in LDS singles life, but also transforming your life into your best life. So let's start by changing the way we think about New Year's resolutions and how we approach them. Remember, the key here to focus is to focus not on result, but focus on identity. So how do we shift our focus from result to identity? Well, first, I recommend something that I've talked about extensively here on Join the Journey Radio, and that is partnering with the Lord. The Lord can make far more out of our lives than we can on our own. And so, in order to have your best life, it makes sense to partner with Him. When you partner with Him, He can help you to see your true identity as a beloved child of our Heavenly Father. This is, without question, the most important identity in eternity. But He can also help you to see the other identities that you need to adopt in order to have your best life in mortality. These other identities correspond to the roles that you play as you live day to day and week to week. For example, many of us attend church every week as part of our identity as active Latter-day Saints. Weekly church attendance is something that active Latter-day Saints do. And so we who see ourselves as being active Latter-day Saints, we see that as part of our identity. We're going to keep attending church every week because that performance is consistent with the way we see ourselves. And therein lies the second key for shifting our focus to identity instead of towards result in order to change ourselves. Okay, first was partnering with the Lord to identify how we should see ourselves. Second is shifting how we think about what we do to reflect a natural manifestation of our identity rather than the achievement of some outcome or result. And when you focus on outcome or result, it's normal to assemble a plan of action items or steps that you need to complete in order to achieve your desired result. But when you focus on identity, it is normal to think about what actions someone with that identity would take, and then you do those actions. But in order for this part to work, you need to think about doing those things as the manifestation of your identity and not as stepping stones to some desired outcome, right? The desired outcome will take care of itself once you adopt the identity. Let me give you an example. An extremely common New Year's resolution is losing weight. And many who take that up have the most sincere of intentions to follow through on the steps they think they need to take in order to achieve the outcome, right? Things like, I'm going to eat less, eat healthier, exercise more, drink more water, etc. When they go about eating less, eating healthier, exercising more, drinking more water, etc., they're thinking about the desired outcome of losing weight because their desired outcome is the reason that motivates their action. But they haven't changed the old you into a new you, and you cannot consistently perform in a manner which is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. So the old habits start coming back into play, and before long, the new year looks just like the old year because the old you is still here. In order for your life to change, you must change. In order for your life to get better, you must get better. So instead of focusing on result, focus on identity. Instead of saying, for example, I'm going out to run today because I need to exercise more so I can lose weight. Say, I'm going to run today because I'm a runner, and running is what runners do. You see the shift in thinking here? Seemingly very small, almost subtle, but extremely substantial and significant for acquiring long-term change. In order for you to change you, you must think about what you do in terms of this is what someone with the identity that I want does, instead of the typical this is what I need to do in order to get the results I want. So, to review, in order for your life to change, you must change. The best way for you to change you has two parts. Part one is to partner with the Lord and counsel with Him regarding the identities you need to adopt in order to have your best life. And part two is to do the things that people with those identities do. Every time you play the part of that new identity by doing something that someone with that identity does, you cast a vote for that new identity. And to win the election, you don't need a landslide. Landslides are nice, but all you really need to win is a majority. And, that's really all you need. So in time, you keep casting those individual votes, they will accumulate until you have the majority that convinces you have the new identity that you wanted to take on. And that is the moment that the old you dies and the new you is born. In that moment, you will have solidified the new habits that correspond with the new you, and those new habits will then bring you new results in a new life. Now, as we said before, in order for your life to change, you must change. In order for your life to get better, you must get better. You need to change you. In order to change you, you need to change how you think about yourself and your life. You need to change how you think, and when you change how you think, you can change your identity. When you change your identity, you change what you do and why you do it. When you change what you do and why you do it, you change your habits. And when you change your habits, you change your results. When you change your results, you change your life. This is why I say, we focus on the identity and the results take care of themselves. You don't need a new address. You don't need any change in your environment, although changing into your environment can be helpful in acquiring new habits. But all you really need to do is to change the way you think about you, change the way you think about your life. Now, having gone through this process myself, I know it may be hard at first because the old you doesn't believe that the new you is moved in, right? It doesn't believe in that new identity that you want to adopt. That's because the old you is the result of an old habit in how you think about yourself, because the way we think is habitual. This is why, Zig Ziglar was right when he said you cannot consistently perform in a manner which is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. When you try to act again and again in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself, you create a psychological dissonance that is the equivalent of pain to the brain. Now, the easiest way to resolve that pain is to go back to the default habit you have and how you see yourself. So you go back to the old habits of activity that keep casting more and more votes for the old you. And if you keep on keeping on with that, which is what habits are designed to have us do, before long, the old you has won the off-cycle election, and the new year looks just like last year and the year before that. So, when you feel this discomfort as you move to adopt a new identity, you need to push through to the other side. I mean, it's helpful if the actions you're taking are small actions, because the small action will create a small amount of dissonance as opposed to a large action, which creates a large amount of dissonance. So it's easier if to push on through if steps you're taking are small. But even with that, you still need to push through to the other side. You need to keep casting votes for that new you. You need to adopt new habits of self-talk. Okay, something else we've discussed many times here at Join the Journey Radio. You need to consciously reinforce that new identity with your self-talk. The new you can win the election, but only after you collect enough votes for the new you. So you have to push on through. This is why I said that partnering with the Lord is the first step to embracing a new you. Partnering with the Lord does not mean counseling with Him to develop the game plan you need to execute, and then marching forth on your own to execute it. No, partnering with the Lord means counseling with Him regarding your plan, and then marching forth with Him beside you and continuing to counsel with Him, leaning on Him as you execute the plan you made together. So in those moments when you feel that cognitive dissonance from doing whatever is inconsistent with the old you, lean on the Lord, take strength from Him to push on through and keep casting votes for the new you. When you think about it, this journey I've been describing of how we can change the old you into a new you reflects the more eternal journey we are all on in mortality. That journey is part of a plan to help us become as God is and live with Him where He lives. But God doesn't work His plan because He wants to achieve a particular outcome. Yes, He does have outcomes in mind with His plan, but when He is working His plan, He's not focused on the result. He does what He does simply because that is who He is. When we embrace the same mindset as we seek to change our old you into a new you, then our individual journey aligns more with the eternal journey in our Heavenly Father's plan, and we can more easily feel His love and His support in becoming our best self and living our best life. So, that is pretty much the essence of having the new year become better than the last. That is how LDS singles can make the most out of their single years. That is how LDS singles, or anyone really, can start living their best life. And that is the model I will be using to make Join the Journey Radio in 2026 better than it was in 2025 or any year since it began in 2012. I've talked before at the start of the new year about changes that I have made for the program, but those changes never took place in large part because I didn't do what I've talked about here in this episode today. So as a result, the old identities remained, and with them the old habits that led to the same old results. Well, that's going to change in 2026. One of those changes is going to be a more concerted effort to engage LDS singles on the international stage. I want to explore what being a single Latter-day Saint means in countries outside of my own United States of America. how the principles and techniques we discussed here on Join the Journey Radio can apply anywhere. I want to have more discussions about dating. I want to re-energize some of the efforts I've engaged in during past episodes, such as book club, right? Book club is where we select a single book, often a secular tome produced by a friend of another faith, and then talk about how that book can help LDS singles live their best life, right? Another segment I've done is In the Kitchen, where we discuss new recipes for meals that can help LDS singles live more healthy without spending a lot of money or a lot of time. Now, I know I've talked about this aspect forever now, but 2026 will be the year I bring in other LDS singles into the program. So it's not going to be just me blabbing on about this or that. I'm convinced that a discussion format is essential to growing the program so it can help more LDS singles. And that is the whole reason why I created Join the Journey Radio, why I continue to come back to Join the Journey Radio. It's all about helping my fellow LDS singles find more joy in their single years and living their best life. So as we LDS singles look back on 2025 and then look ahead to 2026, let us partner with the Lord and let God prevail in the choices we make regarding the identities we will adopt for the coming year. As we then begin doing what our counsels with the Lord produce in terms of plans, we will begin casting votes for our new identities. And as we continue to partner with the Lord and lean on Him for strength and support to carry on, we will embrace a new life because we will have embraced a new identity. As we partner with the Lord, we will find ourselves ready for the new year, and that will bring us more joy in our journey. Well, peeps, that's all we have for this episode of Join the Journey Radio. Thanks to all of you for joining in and making 2025 phenomenal. Well, maybe not phenomenal, but it was a good year. I got Frank Sinatra in my head now. It was a very good year. So, did you just wish life for a musical? If you have something you'd like to share about our, well, I guess I should look at the chat first. Let's check out the chat. I don't think, yeah, see, there's nobody in the chat. That's going to change in 2026. I want people to light up the chat. Light it up. Light it up. Set it on fire. I'm serious. That discussion format, really, like, I mean, and this is the cool thing, right? Because it's like, we'll have discussions. I bring people here on the program, but then if you're in the live stream, you can actually join in the conversation that we have. You can ask questions, make comments, share ideas and insights, and actually join us in the discussion. So yeah, if you're not joining the live stream, then hey, come join the live stream. There's a schedule located on our website, jointhejrradio.com. Yep, there it is, right there. There's jointhejrradio.com, right? There's a page there where you can watch the program and see the schedule for when the live stream is going to be broadcast. So check it out, peeps. Check it out, because you can get a lot more out of it if you actually participated. Remember, you get what you give. So the more you give, the more you get. Of course, if you're watching this after the fact, then, go ahead, feel free to make a comment about this episode of Join the Journey Radio. Leave a comment down below the video. If there's a topic or a question that you want to see addressed in a future episode of Join the Journey Radio, leave a comment down below. If there's something, that we can do specifically to help you overcome a specific challenge that you have with LDS singles life, then you got it. Leave a comment down below. Of course, there's a contact page there on our website, jointhejrradio.com. So if you want to leave us a comment that you don't want the whole world to see, then because I know some people are shy, introverted that way. We love you too. We want you to be a part of our community. So we made that option available for you. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share our content that you find helpful so that the algorithms will get more of our content out to help more Latter-day Saints everywhere. So until next time, this is your host reminding you there is joy to be had all along your journey. Take that joy and journey on.
We did it. Come on. Give me some. Give me some. Give me some. Give me some of that. Yeah. Woohoo! I will see you cats on the flip-flop later.